Yo, what's going on? This is RJ from Game News USA, back today with another top 10 list. And we have the top 10 Castlevania games of all time, according to me. And guys, before we get into the list, please remember to hit the subscribe button. I really appreciate it. And please check out any of my videos, and you can comment on anything, and I'll try to reply back to you. So, last week we did Metroid top 10s. Now we're doing Castlevania. Metroidvania. I wonder why. But Castlevania is a series that I am not the most biggest fan of. However, I do enjoy some of the games. I really enjoy many of the games, actually. I just don't think they're the greatest games of all time. However, I have boiled it down to 10 Castlevania games that I think are really good, and I ranked them from number 10 to number 1. So without further ado, let's get right into the list. Starting with number 10, we have to throw the original, the OG Castlevania in there. Yes, sometimes the original NES game of certain franchises don't hit the top 10. But in this case, they do. It's iconic. Now, the bat itself in the beginning world is a little tough. It's a little hard. It's a little bit of a steep learning curve, I feel. However, playing it on an NSO with save states, I feel like can help hold your hand just enough to get you through if it's your first time playing the OG Castlevania. And so I gotta put it number 10 on the list. Number 9, Castlevania II Simon's Quest. Now this game gets a lot of shit. A lot of people don't like it better than the original Castlevania. I, however, do. I like the craziness, the weirdness of the way you gotta progress. It's really actually aged better in my opinion. I think Angry Video Game Nerd doing a video about Castlevania 2 helped rise its popularity many years ago in some ways. And honestly, I find the game to be an upgrade over the original. Therefore, it's number 9. Number 8, how about Castlevania Blood of Rondo on the PC Engine? This game is rare. It's crazy that we have this game. It needs to be like redone in some way, I feel, to bring it to modern audiences, or else it's lost to time. And in the little bit of time that I've ever experienced with it, I thought it was really, really good. I probably just needed more time with it, but that's where it's going to land as number 8 on the list. Number 7, Castlevania Lords of Shadows from the Xbox 360 and the PS3. This game often gets overlooked because 2D Castlevanias are overwhelmingly the more popular of the 2D or 3D Castlevania games. This isn't like Mario, where the 3D games are often argued with the 2D games. It's not like Sonic, where it's 3D versus 2D. Generally, 99% of the audience prefers 2D to 3D, including myself, when it comes to Castlevania. However, Lords of Shadow gives me hope that we could see another actually good 3D Castlevania, because I think Lords of Shadow gets overlooked, and it's actually rather good, which is why it's number 7 on my list. Number 6, Castlevania Bloodlines for the Sega Genesis. This is just another good 2D Castlevania. It had to rank somewhere, and I think it is better than Lords of Shadow, but it's not quite as good at number 5 on the list, because number 5 on the list is Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow. We just got it in a collection with other Castlevania DS games, and out of that collection, Dawn of Sorrow was the best one, I felt. And really encapsulates what we've seen from PS1 Castlevanias to Game Boy Advance Castlevanias, and evolves the genre even more, which is why this game has to be number 5 on the list. Number 4, though, is Arya of Sorrow, which came before it on the Game Boy Advance. You know, I really like a handheld Castlevania, and of all handheld Castlevanias, the one that I would choose is Arya of Sorrow. That's the one that I would suggest. Therefore, that's why it's number 4 on the list. Number 3, Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse. You know, much like Mario and Zelda, Castlevania had its original game, the first one, its second one that kind of went weird and different, and then its third one was a return to form. And Castlevania III Dracula's Curse was a return to form. It's one of the better games on the NES to begin with, and it clearly took what the first game was going for and made it so much better despite being on the same hardware, the NES. And that brings us to number 2. There's only 2 games that are left, and there's going to be a big debate over this one. But number 2 is Castlevania Symphony tonight. Many of you would have it number 1. If you do, I don't disagree. This is a 1A, 1B situation for sure. Castlevania Symphony of the Night, a lot of ways, is credited, along with Super Metroid, for really establishing the Metroidvania genre. You know, even, spoiler alert, even when you beat the game, you have to replay the game in reverse. You may or may not have known that. If you've never played this game before, yes, the other games I named are great, but if you never played this game, or what's number 1 on the list for me, I actually would suggest this game. I would try it out. If you're going to play any Castlevania game, this is probably the one you got to play. Even over my number 1 choice, because my number 1 choice is for me personally. So my number 1 choice is Super Castlevania 4 on the Super Nintendo. You know, much like I said earlier, when you had a Mario game come out, you had the original Mario. Mario 2 lost its way a bit. Mario 3 was a return to form. Then Super Mario World comes in and takes that return to form and just makes it that much better, in an even better, more refined, better looking version. And Super Castlevania 4 absolutely does that with the Castlevania series, following Castlevania 3 Dracula's Curse. So that's why it's number 1 on my list, guys. So if I'm stuck on a desert island and I can only play one Castlevania, it's going to be Super Castlevania 4. So anyway, what do you guys think of my list? Let me know down below what your favorite Castlevania games are. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you on the next top 10 list. Peace. Have a good one. Don't forget to check out my other videos too. I do NFL recaps, I do interviews, I do game reviews, movie reviews, comedy skits, live streams, you name it. We got a whole bunch going on the channel, and I thank you all for the support.